Welcome to the Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast, starring Q the Boss.
Yo, 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 yo. Welcome back to another episode of Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast. They call me Q the Boss. I like that. One more time, guys. For everyone who had a successful week, for everyone who's done something to better their lives this week, I'm gonna give you another round of applause. For everyone that's faithful, that always watched this episode, I want to tell you thank you, I appreciate you, I value you, and I love you so much. But today's topic, we're talking about the language of success. Language of success. I'm gonna be honest with you. Tap that screen, guys. Let's wake up some people. It's like when you speak to certain people, you realize that they don't speak the language that successful people speak. And in most cases, they get intimidated by going into rooms where successful people are talking. I was talking to a family member today, and we talked about something called ego and pride. He said, the reason why people don't like to listen because they got too much pride. Pride and ego could be the reason why most people are stuck in their positioning. Because in order for one to be willing to grow or to grow, one has to make themselves uncomfortable so they can hear things that they need to hear. But a lot of times we get so set into our old ways. There are a lot of people who are content with being who they were. They can't see they're not becoming anyone new. They're stuck, right? And when you have these conversations, they say to me like, yo, Q, things are not moving the way I want. And I said, because you are still speaking the language of the very unsuccessful. Most of us was taught how to speak this language, therefore becoming an action, leading to poor results. That's why most of us are failing, because of the mentality that we were taught. Now it becomes the actions from the mentality that we were taught. And now all you're seeing is the results from the actions that we have. So it starts as the teaching of the mentality that led to the action of the mentality that's leading to the results of the mentality. Most of us have very unsuccessful mentalities. When you listen to most successful people are always planning on what to do with their money so their money can make more money for them. But a very unsuccessful mind is looking for ways how to spend money to look like they have money. Completely two different mentalities. Listen to that statement. Completely two different mentalities. One has a mentality where they're looking where the park capital, right? So therefore they can add. When we say they're looking for vehicles, most people think we're talking about Benz, Range Rovers, and cars. When I say financial vehicles, I'm actually talking about places to park capital that's going to grow value. But most of us is looking, when I say a financial vehicle, most people are looking for a car, right? And this is the mentality. So you learn that most people are not willing to teach people how to elevate their mentality, because most people are comfortable being the one at the top of the mountain, not trying to pull for others. I've noticed that there are a lot of people who would never help someone else get to where they are because they're intimidated. It feels like, it's like basically like the crabs in a barrel mentality. A lot of people have a crab in a barrel mentality. I've noticed the one thing I love about myself is I'm always willing to help someone else who's willing to learn. But I've learned that one thing about people who don't learn well, either A, they have something called a fixed mentality, but to grow, one must have a growth mentality. But in most cases, most people have a fixed mentality. So therefore, the mentality that they made reservation for, if it doesn't in line with what I think, I don't want to hear it. And that's where ego and pride comes in. Pride can trick you out of the spot that you could get because you have to learn from somebody that you don't want to learn from. Your pride will make you not listen to someone that can teach you something. Why am I going to the mechanic, telling the mechanic how to fix my car when I'm not a mechanic? Why am I going to the school teacher, Jessima, and telling the teacher how to control a classroom when I'm not the teacher, I'm the student? Why go into a place where I know that I don't have a skill, but yet and still not willing to open my mind and listen to the person with the skill? We overtalk professionals. We don't listen to people who tell us, because you know why? Again, it doesn't in line with what I want to hear. Successful people speak a certain language, but unsuccessful people speak a certain language also. But most people have been taught how to speak the language of the unsuccessful. And they keep having these unsuccessful conversations, doing unsuccessful things, leading to unsuccessful results. If you listen to someone right now who believes that if I go buy a nice car, no matter my living situation, as long as I drive a nice vehicle, therefore I am successful. Now I'm asking you this question. Do you believe that's a successful thought? Or is that a poor mentality? The poor mentality is, I don't have to have a nice living situation. I don't have to have assets. But as long as I'm liability rich, therefore I am good. This is a teaching. This is a mentality that you're seeing that people are procreating. You're watching people create new children that have this same mentality. I can have absolutely no food in my refrigerator, but I got Jordans on my feet. I can have no lights on in my house, but I have TVs in my car. When you look at the fact that people overvalue Gucci, Louis, Prada, but in reality, those labels are absolutely nothing. It should not give you value. When you appreciate who you are more, you'll learn that you're bigger than a label. But the problem is, most of us brand ourselves as cattle, meaning we're only valued based on what we put on our backs. And this is the mentality of the unsuccessful. A lot of people are overly indulging in things that don't give them value. And this is the conversations. When I have conversations with people, people say to me, yo, you're very selective with your conversations. I say yes, because when I'm talking to someone, I'm doing something called trading value for value. I'm trading learned skills for learned skills. My conversations are very strategic because of the fact that I am a strategical person, because you have to understand that most people are still playing checkers while you have to learn how to play chess. The language of the unsuccessful. A fixed mindset is the belief that intelligence, talent, and other abilities, right, and unchangeable people with a fixed mindset may avoid the challenge or obstacle to avoid failure. So when you look at this, let me say this again. A fixed mindset is the belief that intelligence, talent, and other abilities, right? This is what we don't get. When you sit down and talk to certain people, you'll see that they haven't grown not one bit. Not one bit. Ask yourself this question, why? Because it's like going to a body, right, that is hibernating and shaking the body and trying to wake it up. The moment you speak a certain language, people start calling you woke. But in order to be woke, one must be enlightened. When a person is enlightened, one must be willing to listen to the enlightened. When a person understands something, why wouldn't you listen? Because of the fact that your ego has just entered the room. I'm not going to listen to him. I'm not going to listen to her. Because of the fact that I genuinely believe that I know what I'm doing. But if you know what you're doing, your receipts, meaning your life, will represent what you know. If you're telling me you know these things, there is no reason why you shouldn't have these things. There's a guy that one time he came in my store. He said to me, yo, Q, I'm about to buy a whole town. Let's say the town is called, give me a town, Roslyn. He said, I'm going to buy the whole town. So I said to him, I said, bro, do you even own a house there? He said, no. I said, let's start with one before you start talking about buying the town. I said, it's hard to believe when one hasn't even bought one. I said, if you had 2 or 3 properties in that same town, I would say, you're trying to buy that town. But the fact of the matter is you have absolutely nothing there and you believe you're going to buy the whole town, which is absolutely delusional. But if you say this, people get offended. I've learned that people are so easily offended, even if it's truth. This is the mentality of the unsuccessful. You have a person who don't pay attention in class, but then get a bad test on or bad results on their tests, but then will find someone to blame for their poor decision-making in that class. One must reprogram their mindset. And as we said before, it's an art to reprogramming the mindset. I'll tell you, I had to reprogram my mindset. I genuinely believed that I was going to be rich and successful doing absolutely nothing. I asked my guys, what is the percentage of people who become millionaires? What is the percentage? We're not talking about athletes, entertainers, rappers, and celebrities, right? I want my guys to say it. Look it up, somebody. What is the percentage of people that become millionaires? And then when you sit down and evaluate the people that become millionaires, these are the people that usually are willing to step out of their comfort and do things that are abnormal to the normal. They're willing to defy gravity. They're willing to focus and literally go into the next spaces and realms that make them very uncomfortable. It's like going into a room, right? Watch this. This is a successful mind. You go into a room and everyone in that room is speaking Spanish. And you don't speak Spanish. 9 out of 10 times, most people will get up and walk out that room, right? But if you look at the successful mind will stay in that room until they learn the Spanish language. An unsuccessful mind will just get up and remove itself and go to a room that makes them feel comfortable, ultimately staying stagnated for the rest of their lives because they don't see that they haven't changed their environments. The odds of someone becoming a millionaire are about 7.29%. That's all coaches across the board. All coaches across the board. All coaches across the board, 7.29%. So let's just round it up to 7%. That means 93% of people will not become millionaires. But if you sit down with the millionaires, you'll see why they are millionaires. They defy gravity. They do things that the average don't. They sit out trips. They don't waste their resources. They're more adamant about their investing. They think of where to put their capital so they can make more money. They're very, very, very strategic, but yet and still most of us aren't strategic but believing that we're going to be successful. Where does that make sense? But as I said, the successful mind will walk into that room with those Spanish-speaking people and stay in that room until they learn Spanish. The unsuccessful mind will leave that room and go into a space where people are still speaking the same languages that they're speaking, ultimately staying in the same positioning forever, but then blaming their environment, blaming the world, but not seeing that they were unwilling to make themselves uncomfortable so they can become comfortable. Comfortably being uncomfortable is what you have to be to become comfortable. Comfortably being uncomfortable until you can become comfortable. Most people are inferior to having successful conversations. Let's say we talk about money. Most people won't have a conversation about money. They don't want to speak on it. It's the forbidden conversation. If you speak on economics with most people, they're going to basically shut you out. They don't want to hear it. And ask yourself why. Ask yourself why. Most people don't want to hear a money conversation. The moment you speak about money, you know the first thing they're going to say? I don't want to talk about that. Oh, you think you all that? Sometimes the people that say that you think you all that is because they're inferior to who you truly are. They don't want to allow themselves to learn from you. I told you the parable of the man that didn't want to listen and ultimately drowned. He had 3 people trying to save his life, but he didn't want to listen. She didn't want to listen. But it's hard to listen when one doesn't have, clearly their ears are clogged. I tell you, you see that body, right, laying there right now, the woke is shaking you and telling you what you should do. They're shaking you and shaking you. You know what you do? You remain in your slumber. And then you get older and then you realize that I made poor decisions. Why do most of us feel we need to waste so much time, right? And realizing that your time is your most valuable commodity. Most of us waste so much time that we don't see that time is not on our side. They say you could pay for school, but you can't buy class? You could pay for school, but you can't buy class. A lot of us don't understand that it's a class system that you see in America. Now they're trying to get rid of the middle class because the wealthy will remain wealthy by putting people at a poverty situation. As long as I can keep you in poverty, I can control the class system. A lot of us won't even ask our teachers for extra homework. You know what? Let me get some extra work. Most of us won't even do that. Most of us won't even read. A lot of us are allergic to books, to studying, to learning, right? Because again, it's going to challenge your thought patterns. If one isn't challenging their thought patterns aren't challenging them. Look at that logic. If one isn't challenging their thought patterns, if your thought patterns are wrong and you're not challenging your thought patterns are going to keep not challenging you. You got to challenge your mentality. There are a lot of things that we were taught that are absolutely wrong. A lot of things, right? My mother's favorite line as a kid, she said to me, if I take a dirty person and I put clean clothes on them, what are they? I'm asking my live, what are they? If I take clean clothes and I put it on a dirty person, what is that person? My mother always said this to me. I want to hear what y'all say, right? Let me see when somebody answers. As soon as somebody answers, I'm going to move on. My mother said, if you take clean clothes and you put it on a dirty person, what do you have? She said, a dirty person with clean clothes on. You have a dirty person with clean clothes on. Then furthering, she said, if a broke person puts expensive clothes on, what does that make them? She said, a broke person with expensive clothes on. She said, it doesn't change what your reality is. But a lot of us want to look like we're something we're not, never becoming what we could become because we're spending too much time, energy, and resources on looking like we're something we're already not. It's the language of the successful. The successful will spend $20, $30 on a pair of shoes. The unsuccessful will spend $1,800 on a pair of shoes. Damn. $1,800. Because again, that person that goes around people who don't have anything and want to flex for people that don't have anything, they really don't have anything. You ever thought about that? The person that wants to flex for people that don't have anything, they really don't have anything. Because that's their level of comfort. I feel more comfortable by flexing for people who don't have anything. That's a mentality. That is a mentality. Habits that may seem weird to some have purpose to those who have a goal. Habits that may seem weird to those who has a purpose, right? They have a goal. So sometimes when you have habits and you go around people who don't have the same habits, they look at you like you're a form of crazy. They look at you like you're weird. But again, when you're starting to do things that the average aren't willing to do, it's always going to seem unnormal. That's why in most cases, people who are the least successful have the most friends. People that are the most successful tend to have the least friends. And you can go to a classroom setting, right? Let's go to my classroom setting. In most cases, the kids that was the most popular were the ones that did the worst in school. The kids that was the most successful, right, in my school are the ones that didn't have a lot of friends. And it still ways to be relevantly true. The people that tend to have a lot of people around them are the people who are not real with themselves. They go around people to make themselves feel comfortable. What they do is piggyback off of each other's poor stories. You know what? So-and-so got shot. So-and-so got hurt. So-and-so got arrested. So-and-so, it makes you feel comfortable. Misery loves company. And a lot of people have miserable conversations. That's why they're miserable and they're not getting anywhere, because their conversations are only affecting them. They don't see that they keep talking about things that are irrelevant. You got to change your conversation, right? You got to change that radio station, new frequency, right? Let's say language of success, shooting 100 free throws after basketball practice. Every day after basketball practice, shoot 100 free throws. Going to yoga class after football practice, right? We can keep going. Flossing after every meal, right? Picking up change off the ground. Most people would never do that. But it's a humility thing. People don't understand. They look at it as a broke thing. It's a humility thing. The other day, I got up and decided to walk. And as I was walking, somebody pulled up to me and said, yo, you need a ride? I said, no, I want to walk. He said, why would you walk? I said, for my health. He said, yo, that's a broke thing. I said, that's not a broke thing. That is a health thing. I said, who told you that walking is a broke thing? I feel like we come from a culture of people who believe that walking is for broke people. And that's a very unsuccessful mentality. Because what is money without health? What is health without money? What is success without your health? So reality is they must cohabitate. They must intermingle. As much as you care about being successful, you better care about your health 10 times more. Because it's one thing to get rich and you can't even enjoy it. Stretching before and after workouts, right? Looking words up in a dictionary after hearing it for the first time. How many people use their handheld secretary or their computer that's in their hand for the right reasons? Most people learn from hearing others talk. Watch this. I own a barbershop for many years. When you listen to how people learn, no one fact checked anything. Most people do not fact check anything. If the right person say it with the right energy and the right words, people are going to take it for face value and they're going to start repeating exactly what the person said. Meanwhile, you're repeating something that is every bit of wrong, but it sounded right. So therefore, you're still speaking on things that aren't true. And this is how a lot of people learn. They learn from hearing what others say, and then they regurgitate what they've heard, and then now they want to sound like they know something. This is how most people pass on information. And this is the unsuccessful mentality, because there's nothing you can tell me without me Googling it. There's nothing you can tell me without me searching it. There's nothing you can tell me without me looking into what you just said. Just because you said something don't mean I believe it. I heard you. I listened to you, but I'm going to fact check it. Because in most cases, I'm not comfortable saying something that I heard. I'm comfortable saying something that I fact check and seen it to be truth. But a lot of us don't do that. We genuinely believe that something is going to just come from doing nothing. There's a lot of people every day who do something that is so bad, they waste their time. They waste their time. We got to stop wasting our time. When you look at yourself in the mirror, you got to be comfortable with what you see. Because if you're not comfortable with what you see in the mirror, you're going to start pretending to be someone you're not, because you're not comfortable with what you see in the mirror. A lot of us are playing Halloween forever. A lot of us are playing Halloween. We play Halloween. And you know the one thing I'm tired of hearing? I'm tired of hearing people play the victim when they're making poor choices. You're not a victim because of the fact that you're spending all your money and you're broke. That's not a victim. You're not a victim because of the fact that you come from an environment that didn't teach you economics. There's a lot of things that you can learn if you choose to learn and not giving yourself an excuse. See, the narrative is this. In most cases, you take someone, right? You know what they do? They look around. They search. You know what they search for? They search for an excuse. After they find the excuse, you know what they start doing? They start dating the excuse. After they start dating the excuse, you know what they start doing? They get engaged to the excuse. After you get engaged to the excuse, you know what you ultimately do? You walk down the aisle and you marry your excuse. And now you know what you do? You become faithful, loyal, and committed to your excuse for the rest of your life. Your excuse becomes every reason for you to fail, but you don't see that you've created this mentality. Therefore, your mentality is controlling your reality. If you don't change your mentality, your reality is going to be a reflection of your mentality. In most cases, people have a poor mentality, therefore they have poor pockets. If you sit down with people who are broke, you see how they behave with the little they have. They don't think that they don't make enough money. What they do think is, if I make more money, I can fix my problem. No, if you make more money, you're going to be the bigger problem, because you're going to continue your poor behaviors if you made more money. In most cases, if you take a person who's bad with little money, they're going to be worse with bigger money. Worse. All it does is heighten who you truly are. If you're insecure, you're immature, you're a waster, you don't invest. If you don't invest a little bit of money you got, you ain't going to invest if you get bigger money. You're going to continue to be who you are. Every bit of the same. And that's what people don't understand. They think they can outperform their poor patterns, their bad habits. You can't outperform your bad habits, because the bad habit is you. I say this on conviction. How do you cure the village when the sickness is not the COVID virus, it's not the bubonic plague, it's the people? How do you fix a culture when it's the people that have a poor mentality? We keep looking for these plagues. The bubonic plague, COVID, right? Smallpox, all of these things that came, but it's not the problem. The problem is the mentality of the people. When you learn that everyone that is unsuccessful, in most cases, listen to their mentality. You know what they look for? They look for an easy way through life. They look for an easy way through life. They always want someone to feel sorry for them. They always, I'm talking about literally always. I know a guy right now who will jump on the phone and call anybody that's going to give him an excuse for their behavior. Every single time I'm like, damn, all you do is call people to try to make them feel sorry for you. But the problem is you don't feel sorry enough for yourself that you're willing to do something to fix your situation. You keep making an excuse for it. You know, today I'm going through. Man, at the end of the day, grow up. You think you're the only one? You think you're the only one that's going through something. When you make the problem of the world bigger than you, then you realize that the world is bigger than your problem. The world is having problems way bigger than your problems. A lot of us don't see that our problems aren't as big as we like to believe they are. A lot of us have been taught to basically become narcissistic with our own problems. Why? Because the world's gonna feel my pain. I'm mad, so I want the world to be mad with me. That's a narcissistic behavior. Think about this mentality it takes that a person wakes up every day and do absolutely wrong, but still believe that they're gonna have something. What mentality it takes to do that? But if you say this is the reasoning why most fail. Are you willing to make yourself uncomfortable to have conversations that you don't know nothing in again? Are you willing to go into spaces and have conversations with people who are 10 times more successful than you? And then don't feel like they're the exception to the rule. See, the problem with a lot of broke people, I'm gonna say this on record, what they do is they create a mentality. They say something like, or their mother was there, their father was there. Everyone I keep running across along my path of success, the people that are successful, they all have a backstory. All of them. Every single one of them have a backstory. Some was beaten as children, some was neglected as children, some of them were orphans, some of them didn't have daddies growing up. This is the regular routine, but they didn't use that scenario to be the logistics of their life. You know what they did? They used that as a motivation factor. They got motivated. But you know what a lot of people don't do? They don't get motivated. You get intimidated. You got to get motivated and stop getting intimidated. Because a lot of people are intimidated by their shortcomings, right? Don't be ashamed of your shortcomings. Find people that are better at what you're not and make them your partner. If you're bad with money, find someone that's better with money so therefore they can be better with the money. If you're bad with money, why would you date someone bad with the money? Ultimately being bad with the money because you're with someone that's bad with the money. Don't make sense. It don't make sense. This is the 2024 culture. The mentality has been preserved to believe in that I'm going to defy gravity. I'm going to be special, doing absolutely nothing. Because you realize that if you say something, right, in most cases, you make reservation for your belief. I called Peter Luger's, set my reservation, and I made reservation in my mind that I'll be here at the time, the minute, and the second. I'm gonna tell you something about success. Success has no timestamp. No one can predict when it's gonna happen. But you ever looked at that video or that picture, the person chipping at that wall, and there's a diamond behind that wall? And what they do is they stop before they get to the diamond, right? And that's the same thing I think a lot of people are doing today. They're stopping before they get to that diamond. What you got to understand is you can't quit. You got to keep going. At the end of the day, no one knows when they're going to meet success. But I'm going to tell you something. If you keep going out and auditioning for the world, right, Kenzie, one day you will meet success. If you keep auditioning for the world, you will eventually meet success. You will. Because what happens is you'll start meeting people who do something called point you in the right direction. People who's giving you the right tools to build what you're trying to build. It is so much easier to build something great when you have the right tools. It is so much easier to build something successful when you have the right tools. It is so much easier to build something when you have the right help. It is so much easier to build something when you have the right mentality. But how do you build something when you don't have the right mentality to build it? I will never ask a landscaper to build my house. I will never ask a roofer to do my electrical work. I would never ask someone that do HVAC to do take a wild guess, floors. Think about that narrative. When opportunity calls, are you answering? When opportunity calls, somebody give me a phone, give me a ring. I want to hear a ringer. Let me get a ringer, Dre. We're gonna ask this question. I want somebody on my live to answer this honestly. Honestly, Let me hear this. Let's get a ring. I want you to answer this question, guys. Come a little closer. Let me hear a little louder. I want y'all to hear this. Listen to this good, guys. Put it right there. I want them to hear this. Okay? You know what I'm going to do? That's what I'm going to do. Hello? Yes, I'm ready. Whatever opportunity you need me to do, I'm willing to do it. Whatever sacrifices is going to take me to get there, I'm going to get there. I know I'm going to have to climb the mountain by myself, but I'm willing to go up that mountain by myself. I'm willing to do anything and everything it takes to get there, because that's what successful people think like. Unsuccessful people, you know what they do? They ignore it. When you keep putting off things that you should be doing today, then your today will never be great tomorrow. When you keep putting off things today that you should be doing today, your tomorrow will never be great. A lot of us are putting off things we should be doing today for the things for tomorrow, thinking that something is going to change. That's not a reality. They say the definition of insanity is, say with me guys, doing the same thing every day but expecting different results. I'm going to say that again. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing every day but expecting different results. And there are a lot of people who do the same thing every day and they expect different results. So I ask this question. Are you insane? By far have to, clearly by definition, you have to be. Because when you ask that question, when opportunity calls, most people won't answer their phone. Because the opportunity don't look like what you want it to look like. You're not getting a call from who you want the call from. You want the person to call your phone to give you the opportunity, because some people don't want you to show them how to eat. Some people want you to kill, slaughter, cook the food, make the plate for them, and then wash the dishes after. Because if you don't do that for them, they feel like you ain't doing enough. And that's where the world is today. They want you to do everything. You're not going to recognize the number, but you will deny the call. A lot of people are not going to recognize the number of success, but most people are going to deny the call. Ask them why. You're going to deny the call because of the fact that it's not coming in from the person you wanted. Sometimes it might even say scam likely. It says scam likely. Because I'm going to tell you something. There's another power out there that will block you from your own blessings. There are a lot of people who's falling victim to this mentality where they don't see that I am not going towards my greatest version of self. Because I always tell people, imagine looking in the mirror, right? And you see yourself and you see the ugliest version of yourself you ever seen in your life. Would you want to look in that mirror? But if you stay long enough and start working on what's ugly about you, right, you can fix it. Look at the narrative. When you look at yourself, right, you see that you're lazy. That's why you're ugly, right? So now I got to fix the fact that I'm lazy. Most people won't do that, right? I got to fix the fact that I'm inconsistent, right? That's what makes you ugly, right? Because again, it's a mentality that makes someone ugly. It's a behavior. It's a behavior. When you look in the mirror, you're supposed to be very attracted to the person that you're becoming. It is disappointing when a person don't want to look in their own mirror at themselves. Being inferior to yourself. Why would you keep tricking yourself out of the greatest version of yourself? You're pulling a magic trick on yourself called the art of the illusion. You're making yourself believe that if I can pretend to be something that I'm not, I will be, ultimately never becoming successful. It's the language of success. We must change our trajectory by changing our mentality, by changing the things we do. I'm going to tell everyone a cheat code. Everybody on my live right now, yes or no, if you want to hear a cheat code. And it's the sad thing that is so fact that a lot of people don't want to hear. My people on my live, right? Yes, if you want to see it. I'm going to tell you a cheat code. I'm going to tell you a cheat code. I'm going to tell you a cheat code. Give me 5 yeses and I'm going to give you a cheat code right now. I see 1 yes. I see 2 yes. Let's keep going. I seen 2 yeses. Give me 3 more yeses. I see 3 yeses. Let's see who else. I see 4. I see 5 yeses. Give me 1 more. That's my guy, Boss Dre. 1 more yes. 1 more yes. more yeses? All right. Watch this question. And I want y'all to answer this with me. Watch this, guys. If I play basketball, right, and every day I train with Michael Jordan, every single day I train with LeBron James or Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, would I be a great basketball player? I'm asking my people in my life. If I train every day as a basketball player with LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, or Michael Jordan, whoever you prefer, if I train with all three of these guys, or one of these three guys, someone said, yes, you would, right? Let's keep going. Somebody said, yes, you would. I'm asking y'all this question. If you train with these three great stars, or we can go to tennis. If I train with Venus or Serena someone said maybe. I disagree. You'll be definitely a better basketball player. You might not be them, but you're going to be a way better basketball player than what you were. You will be as good as you believe you are. I like that. Someone said maybe, right? Yes, you would. Now, I'm going to tell you this narrative. If I go around people who are great at what I want to be, do you think you will become better at it? I'm asking that question. So if I go around people who are good at what I want to become good at, if I hang out with them on a regular, will I become great? I'm asking this question. Someone said, oh, yes. Someone said, yes. I'm going to tell you something. Along my journey, right, I used to be so uncomfortable because I would go into rooms, right, with people who made my money look like crumbs. And I'm going to tell you something. I used to go in this room and literally just be so happy to be in the room. And the reason why I would make myself just so happy to be in a room, because a part of me knew that I belonged there, but a part of me had to learn the language of the success so I could sound like I'm meant to be here. Because it's one thing to get in a room, but it's another thing to fit in the room that you are in. Sometimes people don't fit in the room they're in because they're not adjusting or evolving to fit the rooms. You got to know how to code switch. You got to know how. Because there's certain rooms that don't warrant you being the person you are with your friends. Everyone has multiple personalities. Anyone that tell me they don't, I call them a damn liar. Damn. You have to have multiple mentalities in order to be successful. I'm one way around my friends, right? I'm another way around my girl that she might know things that my friends don't know. I'm another way around my mother that she might know that this people don't know. But I'm also different around different people that don't know me from my personal level. Everyone has multiple personalities. But the problem is this new character you have to create. Look at Beyonce. I want y'all to hear this. Listen to this too, Jessica. Beyonce created a character called Sasha Fierce. She said that she was very intimidated and scared when performing. She created this person called Sasha Fierce, who is fearless. And she said every time she would take the stage, she would turn into this girl called Sasha Fierce. Some of us need to create our new version of self so therefore we can become this person. Yes, the old you might have been scary as hell, but guess what? The person that you're about to create, Chris, ain't gonna be scared no more. You're gonna walk confidently. You're gonna walk up more straighter. You're gonna raise your hand out straight and shake with a firm grip. And you're gonna say, good evening, good afternoon, good morning. How you doing? My name is such and such. And when you do that, you impact people. Because I'm gonna tell you something, when you touch, you are transferring spirits. When you open your mouth, you are transferring energy. And people don't understand with transferring energy, you have to know that people will ultimately either A, feel comfortable with hearing you, or B, get a negative vibe from you. But I'm gonna tell you something, when people walk up confident, a very confident person loves more confident people. Because I'm gonna tell you, I tell people all the time, confidence, arrogance, egotistical, secure, all of these things are on the same fence. You gotta have a level of arrogance to be successful. You gotta have, and sometimes it might come across as egotistical to someone who lacks confidence. It's gonna sound crazy when you believe so highly of yourself because there are people who won't believe in you. But when you believe in yourself, they're gonna always feel like you're very arrogant. But that is normal. That is normal. But again, who cares to what someone who doesn't see your vision believes? You might trick yourself out of your spot because you are destined to be the greatest person, but you're going to tell yourself you're not. Because I'm going to tell you something. Every successful person that you see successful, they definitely had a vision about themselves being successful, And before they became successful, they definitely hit something called failure multitude of times. Failure comes along with the journey of success. No matter what road you go down, you're gonna meet failure. There is no way a hurdler never fell over a hurdle. There is no way a motorcyclist never fell off a motorcycle. There is no way a car racer had an accident. There is no way that a person that runs fell. There is no way a barber never messed up a hair. There is no way that a person that does construction never messed up a job site. It is impossible. And anyone that tells me otherwise, I'll say you're a liar. Because it comes with the journey. But the one thing about life is that term called learning. When you learn, you have to learn forward. A lot of us learn backwards, right? Because we're getting scared of ourselves. When you look in the mirror again, you have to look at yourself and say, I did not fail, I learned. I did not fail, I learned. I said I fell down, but I grew. I hurt, but I healed. I said I fell down, but I grew. A lot of people don't want to grow because this is the 7 habits of highly effective people. 7 habits, right? One is being proactive. How many people are honestly proactive? Not a lot. A lot of people don't even want to put themselves in new rooms. I'm going to another room that's going to show me a new mentality so that I be comfortable in this new room. I'm asking my people on my live right now, raise your hand or say yes if you're proactive. And for those who's proactive, let me give you a round of applause. I'm asking my people on live, are you proactive? Are you proactive? And being honest, someone said yes. Someone said yes. So for those who are proactive, I don't even understand how y'all enjoy my course. Right? But again, another habit is begin with the end in mind. Begin with the end in mind. You got to start knowing there has to be an end to it. A lot of people are crazy. They go too far. They hold on to doing things too long when it's already surpassed its time. That's like the 55-year-old rapper who believed that he's waiting for that one hit. You've been recording for 30 plus years and believe that hit single is coming. That's delusion. That is delusion. That is delusion. You gotta learn to put first things first. When I say put first things first, I mean you gotta put the things that matter first. Do what you gotta do today so tomorrow you don't have to do it. A lot of us put things over or on hold. And this is why your success is on hold. Why would you put your success on layaway? You got $1,000 balance and you're putting a quarter every 3 weeks, a nickel, a dime every 3 weeks, and you expect to pay it off fast. That's how people behave with their success. They put it on layaway and they put the most minimum amount of work into it and believe that they're going to be successful. I just told you, you put success on layaway, you put a $1,000 balance and you keep putting a quarter in once a month. A quarter. Tell yourself how long that's gonna take. Forever in a day because you don't want to put in that work. Maximum effort, right? You gotta think like a winner to be a winner. You gotta behave like a winner to be a winner. You gotta act like a winner to be a winner. And you got to do the things that winners are doing because winning is a mentality that you have to create, right? I'm going to tell you something about a person that's a winner. Even when they lose, they find something out of the loss that they will not repeat. They learn what they've done wrong so that this is not going to be a repetitive thing. That's a winner's mentality. Every time I failed, I learned how I failed. I saw where I went wrong. I saw what I did. So I learned forward. I said, okay, I see what I did. I'm never going to do that again. I trusted this person too much. I gave too much into this. I didn't count my orders. I did not literally sit down and make it make sense. I overly went too far. I learned what I did wrong. And that is the most vital component to success. When you sit back and look at some people, right, If I drove down the road to success and got to the end of it and became successful, who can tell you the road, the map to get into successful? The person that's already successful, right? But the problem is a lot of us don't want to follow the road. We think that we're going to create a new road, right? Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Seek first to be understand, right? Seek first to understand, then be understood. Meaning get knowledge in what you're doing. Learn, right? A lot of us do so many different things that we become nothing great at anything. There are people who are good at a lot of things but great at nothing. They're good at a lot of things, but they're great at nothing. They say they're good at many things, but a master of nothing. Say it again. Jack of all trades. And some people, they kind of good at it, but they're not great at it. And there are a lot of people who are good at things, but they're not great because they don't put enough energy and time into things. They said it's a 10,000 hour theory. That's what it is, the 10,000 hour theory. 10,000 hour theory. You think the average person is going to put 10,000 hours into something to become called a master? Bruce Lee said, and I don't know if y'all should know who Bruce Lee is. Bruce Lee said, I don't fear a person that practices kicking. He said he fears the person that practices the same kick 1,000 times. Because that person that's keep practicing that repetition, they mastered that kick to the T. And a lot of us need to learn how to master what we want, right? Let's keep going. Work together to combine to be more effective, AKA teamwork makes the dream work. A lot of us don't have no team. We don't have no team. Look at certain people that tell you that, yo, Q, I promise you that I want to be this and I want to be that. I'm going to tell you something. You might can run a restaurant, but you can't cook. Damn. I'm being honest. You might can run a restaurant, but you can't cook. But if you say that to somebody, I'm like, that don't mean you can't own a restaurant. That means you just got to know where you're not skilled at. You might be phenomenal, right, with running a restaurant. Phenomenal. But you can't cook. So what is a restaurant without a chef? A trash spot. Damn. But a wise man will say, you know what? Or a wise woman, yo, I got to find a great chef, maybe partner with this great chef so I can create a great restaurant. And in most cases, when you have people put something called equity, money into something, they're more likely to be heavily invested. When a person don't invest their time into things, it is hard to get them to move, right? Look, sharpen the saw, right? Sharpen the saw. You got to sharpen your skill. Sharpen your skill, right? I've done a lot of things, but the one thing I will always say that the first thing I've ever did, I mastered myself to become a master barber. That's the first thing I did it before anything else. I mastered that skill to the point where I took it to the highest level of highest levels, right? And this is what we don't understand. A lot of us have conversations and we don't speak the language of the success. So therefore the conversations are not being understood. When you listen to people and they talk, right, their actions do not reflect the way they speak. They tell you that they want ABC, but their actions are XYZ. That doesn't even make sense. You're sitting there every day forcing a piece into a puzzle that don't fit. And that's the sad part. That puzzle will never make sense. You're sitting there every day trying to force a piece into a puzzle that it was not made to be there. That's the mentality. It's the language of the success. When you ask yourself right now, what am I willing to do to change what I am at today so I can get to where I want to go to? What am I willing to do today that can change and put me to where I want to go? There are people right now who believe that they're going to be teachers who don't even want to go back to school. There are people who believe they're going to be any kind of valid position in their life without the skills and the training. That's delusion. That's delusion. That is delusion. I always tell musicians and artists, the number one thing I realize with musicians and artists, what makes them bad is the fact that they don't understand business. A lot of them don't understand business. They don't understand business. They understand they can make music, but they don't understand how to market their music to get that music to other people's ears. That's why you can see someone that's not talented becoming more successful than someone that's talented, because the person that's not that talented tend to have a better skill at marketing themselves, therefore getting to better results. This is the mentality. Guys, we got to work on the language. We got to go into these rooms that make us uncomfortable. I'm asking my people on live. I want to ask you right now, and being honest and fair to yourself, when was the last time you put yourself into a room of people that you were the least successful? And I don't want nobody on my live lying. When was the last time you put yourself in a room where you were by far, when I say literally the bottom of the barrel in that room, when was the last time you put yourself in that room? When? When was the last time? I'm asking my people on my live. When was the last time you put yourself in a room where you were the least successful? The least. The least. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna give you a story. One day, my business partner, we went to an event, and someone said about a year. Someone said a long time. See, that's what I'm trying to explain, that we got to make that a routine. Right? Social media has given us something in our hand where we can literally look for anything we want. We can find everything and anything we want to do. But watch this. So one day I go to this event, right? And I'm going to tell you something funny. So when I get to the event, my partner, he has a lot of money. He has a lot more money than me. And when we sat in a room, everyone in that room was way more successful than me. It's probably like the group of people was about 15 to 20 people. And the crazy part is I'm the only black person in the room, right? And I'm going to tell you something. They started talking about investing in a big restaurant. So when they said percentage, I was like, I'll take 20%. So my boy that brought me to the room looked at me like, you got that kind of money? I was like, I got 20%. He didn't say nothing to me. After we left, he said, yo, bro, you got that kind of money? I said, no, you do, and I know that you're going to want at least 15%, and I know I could afford 5%. So therefore, that's our 20% right there. He started laughing, and he said, that was ballsy. And I said, listen, I know for a fact you came in this space to get at least 15%. I know I want 5%. So I told them I want 20% so these people could see me as a peer. It's because I'm going to tell you something. When you hear this term, fake it till you make it, a lot of times people fake it, but not understanding what is the means of faking it till you make it. Faking it till you make it is for opportunity, so therefore you can advance your life. For instance, if I'm not that skilled as an electrician, but I can do the job, I'm going to act like I know how to do it a lot better than I do so I can get a job. If I'm not good at coaching, but I can coach a little bit, right? But they have a coaching job, I'm going to pretend as if I know how to coach better than I know how to coach. Why? So I can get a opportunity. But a lot of people use this term, fake it till you make it, and nothing is coming out of faking it till you make it. Acting like you have money and not having money does nothing for you, but gives you a false impression about yourself. And then you'll see that your audience is limited. You're around people who's not giving you no opportunity because, again, I knew I had 5% that I could afford, but I knew my partner had 15% that he could afford. When you talk something called portfolios, when you talk something called about percentages, a lot of people don't understand percentage. When you take a person that has an LLC right now, they'll say, I have 100% of my company, but your company made $50,000 a year. You have 100% of a $50,000 company. But let me say I own 10% of a company that made $1 million. I just made $100,000. So you brag about your 100% of a company that you made $50,000 in. I'm bragging about my company that I own 10% in and I made $100,000. Who's in a better position? Because the person that owns 100% of the work, the business, they have 100% of the responsibilities. And this is what people don't understand. When you talk to unsuccessful people, they don't understand the language. They don't understand percentage. Because again, I'm willing to sell, look, if I own 10% of a company, right? If I can sell 5% of my company, and with that 5% of selling my company, remember I said before, with my 10%, I had $100,000. If I sell 5%, right, and now that $100,000 go to $250,000, and my 5% makes me $250,000, is that a good investment? And that's what a lot of people don't understand. You got to learn percentages, right? You got to learn percentages. A lot of people don't understand percentages. They look at it like, I want to say I'm the boss. But I'm going to tell you something. A boss is one who cuts checks. A boss is one who feeds families. A boss is one who literally puts people in position. A boss is not somebody because they're self-employed. A self-employed person is not a boss. That is you just working for yourself. That is not a boss. I don't know who created this LLC crap. That's not a boss. A boss is a self-employed person. Don't mean you're a boss. That means you could be literally selling. I'm going to show y'all something. Somebody give me a calculator. Calculator, somebody, please. I'm going to show y'all something. I'm going to break down some numbers for y'all real quick. Let's say, hypothetically, the average person works how many hours a week? 40. The average, you could Google it. The average person that owns a business works about 80 hours. 80 hours. So let's do the math. 80 times 4, that's a month. That's 320 hours. A person that works at a job by themselves, look, 40 times 4 is 160. So that means they work 2 times the amount of work that the regular employee does. Now, let's just say hypothetically your business made, let's say, $10,000 this month. 10,000, right? If you divide 10,000 over 320 hours, you make $31 an hour. That's without taxes. That's without insurance. That's without medical. And that's without putting into your IRA or your 401k. There are a lot of people who brag about working for themselves who need to go get a damn job. Damn. Who need to go get a damn job. Because when you look at the fact that they don't have no medical benefits or anything else, they're not making enough money to be self-employed. They're living under the poverty lines when they realize how much money, that $31 an hour got to go to your insurance, got to go to, if you got vehicles, got to go to your gas, it got to go to everything that you're doing. There are a lot of people online right now that's bragging about being gurus, right? About having trucking companies. But then when you look at the totality of the trucking business, you'll see that a lot of people are failing and losing. Because it's all about pretending, flossing, acting. And that's the issue that we have. I tell people all the time, I've run a couple of businesses. I have a pharmacy, I have a nightclub, I have a barbershop, and now I have another nightclub. And I also have a company called Empower Dynasty. That's an investment group that I put together with a bunch of my friends and family. And this company is moving to the point where we actually have an app that's dropping within the next coming months. But why is this mentality the way it is? Because I realized that in order to make money, one has to learn how to make money for them. Otherwise, you're going to always have to work for money. And a lot of people believe that working for money is selling hours of their life is winning, and that's not winning. That's the mentality of an unsuccessful mentality. I'm going to ask my people on my live right now. There's a lot of us on this live right now. Every paycheck you get paid, the first person you're supposed to pay is who? Say it louder. All my people in my life, say it with me. Who are you supposed to pay first when you get your check? Someone said yourself. Keep going. I want everybody in my life to write yourself. There's a second person that said yourself. Let's keep going. Someone said your parents. Yourself. Let's keep going. I mean, you must live with your parents. Let's keep going. Yourself. Why do I say this? Because the only person that's worried about retiring you more than you should be you. No one's going to worry about retiring you more than yourself. No one is going to retire you but yourself. If you're not thinking about yourself first, you're thinking about Sally Mae, which is your student loans. You're thinking about your car insurance, which is Geico. When you're thinking about your mortgage company, right? The lending company, right? When you think about all of these lenders before you think about yourself, then guess what you're doing? You're working for your debtors. They own you. As soon as you get a check every single time, the first person you're supposed to pay is your goddamn self. Because no one is going to protect you more than you're willing to protect your goddamn self. If you care about your goddamn bills more than your goddamn self, then you're the goddamn problem. Goddamn. Always pay yourself first. That's the mentality of the successful. Successful people always pay themselves first. Always pay themselves first. I don't care if it's $10 or $100. I got a homeboy in the studio right now, his name is Chris. I said, there's not another check I want to see you get, and you didn't put nothing into your savings, into your retirement. Didn't I tell you that? Stock market, your retirement, investing. There's no reason for you to go work 40 hours in a week and nothing of those 40 hours went into your future. Nothing. That's called wasted time. It's called wasted time. And guys on my live today, and guys on this podcast today, the worst thing a person can do is waste their time thinking that they have too much time. Because if you keep thinking you have too much time will show you that you just don't have enough time. But in reality, the person that understands that if I invest to buy back time, I will ultimately have more time. Till next time, guys. Don't let that go over your head.